Welcome back to another episode of All in Martin, your A-rated school district's monthly podcast. I'm your host, Kirsty Germain, and today we're talking all about building thinking classrooms. Now, you might have seen all of these photos across our school's social media pages lately of building thinking classroom, and you might be wondering, what is that? We have the two building thinking classroom experts right here in the Martin County School District to talk about that and why it's so beneficial for our students and our teachers. So I'd like to introduce, we have Nicole Golden, one of our instructional coaches, and Denise Harrison, another one of our instructional coaches. So I guess, first of all, what is Building Thinking Classroom, otherwise known as BTC? We love BTC.
Yes, we do love BTC. Building Thinking Classrooms is pretty much an engagement strategy or classroom routine that we have students collaborating and working together in classrooms. In Martin County, we want more student-centered learning instead of that teacher-led instruction. So this lends itself very, very easily and nicely to that student collaboration within the class and truly monitoring for a very long period of time instead of like a quick snapshot of what kids are learning and mastering in our classrooms. It gives us instant feedback the whole time students are up at boards. So in a BTC classroom, you're going to see students in groups of 3 or 2, depending on the grade level, with vertical non-permanent surfaces all around the classroom. So like it's in a circle, so this teacher can kind of be in that middle space and see every single thing that their students are talking about and learning about in a 360 spin of the classroom.
So how did we even come to find out what this is and start implementing it? I know I personally really started seeing it last year. So how did we even hear about this, want to implement it?
So we had a middle school teacher who started implementing this in her classroom, and she and Nicole started working together and started pushing it out through the district. It just kind of took fire. We really started with secondary, wanting to focus on the middle and high school teachers working on it. But our elementary school teachers, they were all about it. And so they grabbed on and started doing it in their classrooms too.
I know I was in Miss Molina's classroom, Molina Council, when I was filming her Teacher of the Year video. And that's one of the exercises that she had for her Teacher of the Year video, was demonstrating a building thinking classroom. And you could tell her students loved it. And it seemed like it was very beneficial for every single student in that classroom, even the English language learners. So talk about what are we seeing when we're seeing our students engaged in this?
We are seeing our students collaborate. We're seeing them work on tasks that are leveled. Mild, medium, and spicy is how we break it down, where that mild level is a prerequisite skill, something that they previously have learned, right? We want to make sure that they can do that prerequisite before we push them on to the on-level material, right? What are my kids coming into my classroom with? And then pushing them along through the process of the mild, medium, and spicy questions so that we can see exactly where our kids are, where the gaps are, and where we can enrich our kids as well. If they're doing everything already, right, we can kind of end that lesson and move on already to accelerate them and enrich them where they need to be.
So we're largely focusing on math with the Building Thinking Classroom, and we're seeing it across, like you said, all grade levels, elementary, middle school, and high school. What does that look like?
So the research really is in math. So Peter Liljedahl, who did the research on this, everything he did was in math. However, we've seen that it just keeps our students engaged more. They're up at the board, they're learning from each other. And so how can we take that into other subject areas so that we have the same engagement? So it's been, starting this year, a little last year in our middle schools. We started with the science rollout, but really just the kids are up at the boards, they're having conversations, and no matter what the subject area is about, it's that collaboration piece that's huge.
So let's talk about results, impact stories. What have you, because you guys are in the classroom teaching our teachers how to incorporate this into their lessons, but then you're also staying there and seeing how it works for the students. So talk about what you've seen with your own eyes.
Yeah, so our middle school teacher who has been implementing it, this is now her 3rd year,
We got to give her a shout out. Who is this?
Sarah Rasmussen at Stewart Middle School.
Okay, shout out to Sarah.
The other BTC queen. She should be here with us. Yeah. But basically, she was the first one that was willing to jump in and go all in and just give it a try when we were like, this seems like a great thing. But, you never want to just like roll something out without knowing, where it's going to go. So she kind of took that on for us. Every single day, her kids are at the board for most of the periods, standing, working, collaborating, talking about math, getting excited about math, which is like my favorite part. Like, how many kids before this were excited to go to math class and talk about math and be competitive over it, which is like the best part for me. But she got it going for us, and her results at the end of the year were just amazing. The students passing the EOC, the learning gains. Then this past year, when we kind of started our official rollout with our secondary math teachers, and then our elementary teachers just decided we weren't saying no, we're going all in too. Our results at the end of the year have just been amazing. The lowest quartile learning gains out of this world like this year, which is just amazing. Like, as we talk about our English language learners, our students with disabilities, seeing them come alive and feel confident in a math classroom is like the perfect thing to see in a classroom. So this strategy gives them a voice. It gives them a lens to learn math and feel confident in that classroom, which is great.
Awesome. And some of the students who wouldn't say anything normally will talk with their teammates. And then you get an opportunity to actually hear their voices and what they're thinking and what they can do.
I love that. I love that it's building confidence in their math skills, but also building their social confidence with each other too. So it's a trifecta of things going on with this. I love it. And then I know it's important for the teachers as well. Like, this is something that students have to get used to, but the teachers have to get used to, but it's beneficial for them as well, seeing it in action.
For sure. Sometimes when we're modeling, we have to remind our teachers to move away from the board because they get excited and they sit at the boards and they talk to the students, and I'm like, this is nice. Okay, come with me. And move away, because we want them to be able to walk around and hear what's going on in the room. And so while they are walking around, they're listening in, they're listening to the vocabulary the students have, the processes that they have, and they can take anecdotal notes. Some of my teachers have created little check boxes. So these are things that I'm looking for, these are things that I'm listening for. And if they check it off, they've seen it. And if not, then those are students that they need to work with. So they know small group, who they need to work with to build up some of those prerequisite skills. Who they need to continue working on level, and then which students they can push into some enrichment.
Well, I do think we've talked enough about it so far that we need a demonstration. So we're going to rearrange the studio so we can show you a little bit of demonstration, and then we will be right back with that. All right, so welcome back. We have rearranged the studio so we can show you exactly what a building thinking classroom looks like. We have our whiteboard set up here, and this is a big part of building thinking classroom. They might not have exactly this to work with, but they're gonna have something similar, right?
Yep.
All right, so we have our whiteboard. What's next?
We'd like to partition this board. If you wouldn't mind drawing a line vertically down the middle.
Okay.
And then horizontally through the middle.
All right, so do we want to talk about, I have the marker.
You do have the marker.
What does that mean?
Okay, so with BTC, we have whiteboard rules. So every group should have a set of whiteboard rules up at their board as a reminder. So as we're going through as teachers, we're reminding them of these rules and making sure that we're following them. So the rules are as follows. Okay, so if you have something to add to the group, you have to pass that marker off to somebody else in the team. And you are writing the thoughts that we have, your other group members.
Can I talk?
Yes, you can talk.
Okay, cool.
But if you have something to add to the board, you need to pass the marker off, so one of us will then write down your thinking.
Okay.
All right, and so when we think about this rule in particular, we think about our Ls, we think about our students with disabilities, and how much power having that marker is. If I have this marker, I feel safe because I don't necessarily have to think, right? They think that's the safe space, right? I'm just listening to my teammates give their thinking process. But in reality, they're doing most of the learning in that spot because they have to take what we're saying, think about it, process it, and be able to write it on the board. So they think it's a safe space, but really it's the best space for them to be learning as well.
I chose it because I thought it'd be a safe space. Not gonna lie. All right.
The next rule is do not erase anything circled by the teachers. Collaborate and communicate with everyone in your group. That kind of goes along with the rest of the rules. We're asking permission to erase others' thoughts. And then the last one is face your board unless you are getting an idea from another group. So we want to mobilize the knowledge in the classroom. There's so much knowledge that our students have already. Let's use it. So they are allowed to look at other boards in the room when they're all set up and try to get those ideas, right? Because in a normal classroom, they're listening to us anyway and getting everything from us. So instead of getting everything from us, hopefully they're learning from their peers. So behind the scenes as a teacher, we kind of have a set of problems and we group them in mild, medium, and spicy. Mild is where we're backing the train up. We want to know that background knowledge. Do our kids come into our class with that? And then medium is pretty much the on level, and then spicy would be accelerating or enriching our students. So
awesome.
So we're going to start with you.
Okay.
Okay. So in quadrant 1, and we're going to move this way along our board. So in this quadrant, can you tell me which is the smallest number, 0 or -3?
So we have.
So maybe draw a number line,
Okay.
and then we would put 0 somewhere over here on this end.
Okay.
Since we're dealing with negative numbers, right?
Yes.
We want to
Okay.
go towards that left-hand side.
And so I can just create like little notches for a number line.
Sure. And then if you'll number them, 0,
So 0,
-1.
-1.
-2.
Oh, you're right. I have to let you
Yeah,
do it. Okay.
-5, right.
That's hard.
It is hard. It's something
Especially
they have to learn. Yeah.
with our accelerated kids. They want to jump in and show their knowledge, and you have to take a step back.
Wow.
Let somebody
Okay.
else help
Which is
you
also
through.
why we start with non-curricular tasks. That way it's not focused on the actual math itself, it's on the structures of the BTC classroom.
Okay. All right. We have our number line.
So 0
Or -3.
or -3.
Which one
So
is smaller?
let's identify 0. Will you put a dot at 0 for us? On the number line, please. I'm sorry, I should have been more specific. And then at the -3, could you put a dot there?
Okay.
So -3 is a smaller number than 0 because it's farther to the left on the number line. So our answer would be -3 is the smaller number.
Awesome.
Love it.
Yay,
job. You're doing
teamwork.
great.
Thank you.
Now I get to do the writing and you get
Oh
to do the writing.
no.
So we continue to work the problems. As a group of students, the teacher is walking around and monitoring the groups. So she or he are looking at the boards and they're seeing, is everybody understanding? Are we progressing through the questions? Or do I need to go to a specific board and say, I need you to go back and look at this problem and explain to me how you got this answer. There's a lot to be learned here by the teacher. You can hear their conversations, the vocabulary that our students are using, where their misconceptions are. Yesterday I was at Warfield. We had students who are struggling with regrouping. And one of the students who was being really quiet actually said, I know how to do that. And so he talked the other kid through it. I was standing there watching, listening. I didn't say a word, I was just listening. So now I know this student does not need regrouping, but this one does. And so as I pull small groups, I know who I need to pull and who I need to enrich.
So it's a very beneficial thing for not only just our students, but also for our teachers. I think that's all for the demonstration portion of this. So we're going to rearrange our studio back and just finish out our thoughts on building thinking classrooms. So stay tuned. And we're back after that brief transition and demonstration. I thought that demonstration was really fun. And then I can really see how it engages every single student that is involved in this activity. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. And thank you for keeping the questions somewhat easy.
That was 6th grade math. It wasn't that easy.
Oh, okay, cool. That's something that you asked me, how did I know this? Really, I know this because I just know it. Yeah, because it's just that institutional knowledge.
Yeah, that's something that we talk about, especially with our accelerated kids, right? They just pick up and they can just do things, but do they not really know why? So that's where even with our accelerated students, we can really deepen their understanding of what's happening in that math concept, right? So you can do it, but do you understand why we're doing it this way? Or how did you get to your answer instead of just that's just what I did.
And comprehension is such a huge, huge thing that we have to work on, and that's going to help it for sure.
For retaining, right? Our math skills build on each other every year. So how are we making sure they retain it? by making sure they truly understand the process and the step-by-step reasoning why they're doing things they are.
And that's why we're doing so good in math. I love it. Yay. So what's next? I mean, we started the rollout, like you said, really last year and then even more so this year. What's next for BTC?
I mean, we're hoping that it's K-12 and math. Pretty
K-12
much
and math.
every day. Like, they should be up at the boards every single day in their math class, at least doing some kind of task with their kids. And then as far as like other subjects, it is our first year rolling it out to science, ELA, and social studies. So our hope is once or twice a week that they're getting their kids up and they're just looking to see what the knowledge is in their classroom already. What do your kids already know about the topic that you're going to be teaching, so that you have an idea of where your lesson can take off from there.
Awesome.
And I think the ultimate goal in math is every day. Like, let's get them moving to their boards, having that conversation. It's amazing what they learn from each other.
Obviously, this is something we want parents to understand why this is so good. What's something that you would want to tell parents about how BTC is working for their kids, or why they should be excited about it like we are?
Well, your students are learning. I think that's the biggest thing, and they are being taught how to do math. I think that's the biggest hurdle that we have is, oh, my teacher didn't do anything today. Your teacher did a lot. There's a lot of planning that goes behind it to make it feel like you're doing all the work, but the prep is there. So she's monitoring what's going on in the classroom. She's not just allowing them to go. Walking around, observing, going to boards and seeing when students need extra help, giving them some things to think about, drop a little nugget here and move on, so that now they're doing the work, so that it's not all on the teacher in the classroom, because that's historically what has happened. All of the teaching, all of the learning, because if you're doing the math, you're learning the math. So if I'm up at the board for 45 minutes doing math for your students, they're really not getting a lot. This allows them to put their hands on it, to do it. They can make mistakes. That's why we have erasers. And so that's also why the boards are non-permanent, so they can erase and they can start over.
Oh, we didn't even use the eraser.
No
Is that
eraser.
a good
We
thing
didn't
or
have
a
to.
bad thing?
I thought, see, you are a math person.
Yes.
Yeah, you do math. You're a person. You're a math person.
I love it. Yes, I'm a math person. We're all leaving this today math people. I mean, you two were already math people, but I'm leaving this today as a math person.
Yay.
All right. Well, I guess, do you guys have any other final thoughts about BTC?
Just how much we love it.
Yeah. Keep doing it. Keep making it happen.
Yeah.
Thank you again for joining us today. I really had so much fun learning more about BTC and seeing it in action, and hopefully our parents can really get to enjoy this as well and see all the great things that are happening in our school every single day.
Thanks for having us.
Yes,
Of
thank you.
course. And thank you guys for joining us today on this episode of All in Martin. We are always innovating in the district, and this is just one way that we can highlight that. So stay tuned for more ways that we're innovating in our A-rated district. And in the meantime, you could always find us wherever you scroll.